Hi friends, welcome back. So this is the concluding phase, overall concluding phase of our journey, IIT-JEE at glance. Here I won't say that this is the questions which we are going to discuss are too much of higher level, but since they are at the IIEEE level, the most important thing will be the speed part. Remaining rest questions you will be finding in test papers and all, but the questions which have appeared, okay, you will be finding them very easy. And just one or two tricky questions in this part. That's all I want to say right now. Rest will conclude it then. Let's begin with the questions. Let's look at the first question. The question says, let R be the relation on the set. This is the relation given on this set. Then the relation is reflexive transitive, reflexive only, reflexive not transitive, and not symmetric and transitive, reflexive and symmetric. So here we need to check all the types of relation which we discussed in the previous video. So you just have to go through that thing and it will be very easy. So as you can look here, 3, 6, 6. Reflexive means all the elements that are part of it should have their reflection. 3 is there, 6 is there, 9, 12. So it's a reflexive. Now reflexive was there in all the options, so we don't need to even check for that. That's just a time waste. Now checking for symmetric. Symmetric, clearly if we can see that 6, 12, 12, 6 is not there, so not symmetric. So obviously the options B, D gets eliminated. Okay, let's check for the transitive. Now for transitive, obviously we'll look at these elements because these are self not required in the transitive part. 6, 12 is there, so 12 is not related to any other element. It means no problem till now. 3, 9 is there, 9 is not related to any other, again it's fine. Then 3, 12, 12 is again not related, again fine. 3, 6. Now note here that 3 was related to 6, but 6 was also related to 12. It means 3 should be related to 12, which is there. So it is transitive basically. So symmetric wise not symmetric but transitive. So we can say it's reflexive and transitive only. Okay. So because we have checked for transitive, it was following, it's not violating. See, here the element 3, 9 was present, it was not hindering with the transitive property. Okay, 3, 6, then from here got to this and from here got to this. So this was satisfying the transitive. It was not violating the rule that if A and B are belonging to R and B and C, they are also belonging to R, then AC. Now this is not happening for any of the two pairs present. For reflexive, for all it was happening, so not a problem for that. Moving on to the next question quickly. Let R be the real line. Consider the following subsets of the plane. Okay, S is given and T is also given. Now which one of the following is true? Both S and T are equivalence relation. Now we have to check for these relations whether they are true or not. Okay, S is an equivalence, so options will be like this. So this came in IIEEE 2008, which is now not nothing but the JEE mains. Okay, so it says that R be the real line. R is given to be basically set of all the real numbers, right? Following subsets of this R. Okay, basically it will form a plane, right? Because R is a line, so if you are considering in 2 dimensions, it will become a plane. So S is x comma y such that y is equal to x plus 1. This. Now see, clearly for S we can say, now see, we have to check for equivalence. Okay, we don't have to, even if we can by directly seeing that one of the properties is not being followed, so clearly we can say that it's not an equivalence. Property by property means any of the type of the relation is not followed. So clearly x is not equal to x plus 1 for any real number, right? So if I check for the reflexive property, so from there itself I don't need to go for symmetric, I don't need to go for transitive. S is not an equivalence relation. So this option gets eliminated. Okay, this option gets eliminated. Now the only thing which we have is C and D. Let us check for T. Now for T, x minus, for any integer x, this is always an integer, x minus x 0, because this is any number is subtract to itself, so this will always be a reflexive. For symmetric, you can check that if x minus y is an integer, so obviously your y minus x will also be an integer. There is no doubt about that. Okay, so no problems with that. Checking about the transitive, same way you can see that if I am going for x minus y is an integer, y minus z is an integer. So if I subtract or add the two things, so I will get x minus z as I1 plus, if I name this as I1, I2 plus, so this will also be the integer, no doubt about that, because sum of two integers is, so S will be an equivalence relation. Again, a very good question to understand. Now here we need to just think that only one condition is sufficient to say that it's not in particular relation, but if we want to prove that it is a relation, then we have to prove it for the general values like we did for these three things. Moving on to the next question. If A, B and C are the three sets such that A intersection B is okay and A union C is A union B, then okay. Now this was again from the same year itself. Okay. Now this is very easy question to understand. Now there is a set A whose intersection with the other two sets is also same and the union is also same. Means what I am having, A, B and A and C. Now this region is also same and the overall region is also same. So when it is possible, like these elements will be always constant, right? So it means these two sets has to be same in order to get this true. So this is a very straightforward question, one of the easiest question which can be asked in IIT-JEE. So straightforward direct questions. As we can see, we have not encountered any tough. Now I have already mentioned that this topic is not there in advance, so obviously you won't be finding very difficult questions from this. In test paper there might be some questions which will be tricky, but here the previous year questions which have already come, they are quite easy and simple to understand. Moving on to the question 4. These following relations R and S is given. Now here x and y are real numbers and x is given to be okay, fine. So you have been given R as okay. I'll write here R as, now here x is given to be and this is given to be rational number. Okay. Now this is an interesting question. This looks like JEE stuff. M by n, P by Q, and what is given, these are all integers, Qm is equal to Pn. Okay. Again similar question of which we have done in the second question, but this is a bit more interesting than that. It's a bit tricky. So again the options will be like that only, and it came in 2009, which was again one of the years in which the exam was a bit tough. So yeah, now here we need to see that for R we'll check first that x is equal to wy. Now for checking reflexive means x comma x should be there. It means x is equal to wx. Now clearly for w is equal to 1 this satisfies, and 1 is a, so this will be reflexive. Let us check about the symmetric. Now if x comma y is there in that, it means x is equal to w by y. Now can we say that y by w will also, y comma x will also be part of that, which means y will be equal to x into w, because here it was saying that x was equal to yw. So check for this, that whether this will be possible or not. Like, is it true that this will also be some rational number? Obviously you can see that if from the first one, if I see x is equal to wy, so here if w is this, so what we need to do basically, y as 1 by w x. So clearly if this is a rational number, okay, obviously you will have a rational number for this, but is it possible that x can be 0, this can be 0 and this can be 1? Of course, it's a possible value. For this, you cannot write 1 as 0 by 0. So this won't be a symmetric one. So this is a very very important point. Like although most of you might be saying that okay, 1 by w it will be, it's possible, but it's again good one. Like it's not symmetric, so R is not an equivalence relation. Checking for the S. Now for S, if I check for m by n comma m by n, now obviously your mn will be equal to mn always. It will always be following this thing because this is following the cross multiplication. So this will be always reflexive irrespective of what this thing. Now going for symmetric, if m comma n is there, then p by q comma this should be there, right? Now for this one clearly you can see that Pn will come out to be mq, which was earlier case was mq was equal to Pn. So this is also true, which means this is at the same time symmetric also. Now similarly you can check for transitive. For transitive what you need to do? You need to consider two pairs like m by n p by q. Now p by q is related to some r by s, so it means this should be related to this one. So basically if I write from here, from first relation you will have mq is equal to pn. From second relation you will have ps is equal to qr. Now from here can I have this thing ms is equal to basically mn will be related to rn. So just need to substitute one of the values from here. Maybe you can substitute p here since we don't require p. So p will be s qr by s. So q will get cancelled and you will find it true. So you will find again that s will be equivalence but not r. Moving on to the next question, that is the last question for today's set. The relation less than in the set of natural numbers is okay, fine. So this says that relation, which is this one, is only, so it will be only symmetric, transitive, reflexive, equivalence. And if I say that if x is comma y is there, so if x is less than y, obviously x cannot be less than x, right? So this is not reflexive. If I am going for x is less than y, then y less than x is not possible, not symmetric. So obviously we don't need to check for transitive, as this is the only option which will be true. Why? Because this is not there, this is not there, this won't be there. So by this we can do quickly, and in no time we can solve such questions, because these are the speed breakers in JEE mains now. If they come, although their probability is very less, most probably the questions they are going to come in maybe from subset or the number of relations from one set to like that. So those kind of questions try to practice more, and in test paper also there are some questions related to that concept. So focus more on that. And sets is again not very important for JEE mains, but it's very important like if you go for postgrad or the aptitude test. So in that you will find a lot of set questions which will be using all the properties A, union B, union C kind of things. Although we have done it, but practice some questions, but not much in sets. You can go for functions, which is a separate package. So that will be very very important, and that is the most important chapter now. The concept which we learn here, domain, codomain and all, that will be there, but this is very important to understand, and that is the most important part for the JEE mains and advanced, the codomain, domain from this one. For JEE mains it's all you can refer, but for JEE advanced, domain, codomain, and that will be forming the most important parts. If you have any doubt in this topic, you can post it for free on askIITian website. For this, just visit the askIITian.com, and there you can visit discussion board. It will direct you to Ask Expert, where you can select the category, and according to the category post your question and click the get answer button. Experts at askIITian will answer your query within 24 to 48 hours. So we are at the finish line right now, and I hope that this was the most easiest of the lectures, right? Because the questions were very easy, unlikely as compared to the other videos where you will be finding mind-blowing questions. Here you will be feeling that it's not that difficult, right? And again, talking about our if I summarize our journey, started on with sets, then we saw some terminologies related to sets, studied different types of sets, representations, did some properties, then one of the property which led us to form the Cartesian product. A subset of that was a relation based on a particular rule. Studied that rule, some basic properties by which that rule was classified as particular type of relation, and finally over with some questions. So I hope that summary was quite enough to recap all the memories if you have not seen all the videos recently, and I hope that you like the lecture. For more videos on physics, chemistry, maths and biology and other subjects also, do visit askIITians.com. Stay tuned.